Hello and welcome to Course 7 of the Monique and Roland Vale People's Academy International Law. My name is Gail Davidson. I'm a member of the People's Academy Task Force, filling in for Dean Marjorie Cohen. Our topic today is the international law of armed conflict and challenges to its enforcement. This course will cover the legal principles and provisions of the law of armed conflict, the criminalization of violations, command responsibility, and international accountability, with a particular focus on Gaza and Palestine. When states are engaged in armed conflict, there are two different legal questions or issues to examine. The first one, is the use of force lawful because it is being conducted in self-defense, or does it constitute illegal aggression under the United Nations Charter? That is called jus ad bellum and is analyzed using the principles of international human rights law. The second question or issue to be examined is whether the force is lawful or unlawful. What are the limitations on that force? And that is called jus in bello, the international law of armed conflict, sometimes called international humanitarian law. And even if the use of force is illegal, all parties to the conflict must abide by international law of armed conflict. Now, these laws grew out of an attempt by states to not prohibit war, but to make war less devastating for combatants and non-combatants. This body of law is codified in the Hague and Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols. The provisions require states to engage in combat to make a distinction between combatants, armies, tanks, and military equipment on the one hand, and combatants, non-combatants, civilians, and civilian objects, residences, schools, hospitals, and other facilities on the other hand. The law prohibits the targeting of civilian and civilian objects. Weapons that do not discriminate between combatants and civilians are generally prohibited, and notice of planned attacks must be given to enable non-combatants to escape. The law requires proportionality, allows only the amount of force necessary to achieve legitimate military objective, and seeks to prohibit attacks that cause disproportionate harms to civilians. Our faculty for this course are Ali Race-Tusi, Chantel Maloney, and Catherine Gallagher. Each of these very learned presenters will speak for 40 minutes, and then for approximately 15 minutes, they will comment on each other's presentations. That will be followed by a question and answer period, so please put your questions in the question and answer box. We have French, Spanish, and English translation. Videos of the presentations in English, French, and Spanish will be posted on the peoplesacademy.net website. I'd like now to introduce you to our faculty members. Ali Race-Tusi is a senior lecturer and director of the master's program in international law at Anglia Ruskin University in London and an associate professor at Birkbeck University. Ali has taught courses in several areas of international law, including public international law, the law of armed conflict, human rights law, and international space law and policy. His conference presentations include Just War and Wars of Aggression in the Abrahamic Faiths, Victor's Justice, Reassessing the Tokyo and Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunals, and Teaching Public Law as an Act of Dissent. Ali is a fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy and a member of the British Interplanetary Society. Ali Race-Tusi will explain the rules of the law of armed conflict with reference to the Hague and Geneva Conventions. The second faculty that you will hear from today is Chantal Maloney, who is a criminal lawyer, an associate professor of international law at the University of Milan, Senior Legal Advisor on International Crimes and Accountability for the European Centre for Constitutional and Human Rights. Chantal is on the list of assistant counsels for the International Criminal Court, where she represents Gaza and Palestinian victims. Chantal has a PhD with a thesis on command responsibility. She was a member of the commission that drafted the project for an Italian Code of International Crimes. Chantal has been an expert in roundtables organized by the United Nations and by the European Union Parliament. She is the author of numerous articles and book chapters. She is the co-editor of Domesticating International Criminal Justice and Is There a Court for Gaza? Chantal has spent several months in Gaza, where she collaborated with the Palestinian Center for Human Rights. Chantal Maloney's presentation will focus on the criminalization of violation of the laws of armed conflict, command responsibility, and accountability for violators. And lastly, today you will be hearing from Catherine Gallagher, who is a senior staff counsel for the Center for Constitutional Rights in New York, where Catherine works on holding U.S. and foreign officials, as well as corporations, accountable for serious human rights and international law violations. Catherine has represented victims and survivors of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide in many courts: U.S. federal court, non-U.S. national courts under the principle of universal jurisdictions, UN treaty bodies, and at the International Criminal Court, where she currently represents Palestinian victims in the ongoing International Criminal Court investigations, including investigations into the current genocide. Prior to joining the Center for Constitutional Rights, Catherine worked at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia from 2001 to 2006. Catherine Gallagher will analyze Israel's violations of the laws of armed conflict in Palestine.